Yo everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's having an amazing day. And this is what if Deku had darkness absorb. So we just hit 500 subscribers and this is the 500 sub special. I am just so surprised, you guys. Like, how do we hit 500 so quickly? It's been like a month. Let's hope in the other month we hit 1K. That's our goal. And by the way, when we hit 1K, I'm probably going to be doing a live stream or something like that, okay? So I don't know what I'm going to do in the live stream just yet, but I might do some like gaming, some just anime discussions, or I might even like play Among Us and you guys can join and we can all play. And let's talk about the Discord, guys. When you guys are on Discord, please don't raid other servers. That just happened to us today, so please don't raid other servers. Like, raiding is bad. But you know what your boy did? He accidentally went back to that person's server who, like, you know, raided us, and we raided them. So I'm sorry for the people that I raided, but it had to happen. Okay, guys, other than that, let's get straight into the intro.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through eyes covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
Okay, so let's not waste any more time and let's get straight into the what if. When Izuku's born, he's born with black hair and like red eyes. As Inko's looking at Izuku, she sees that Izuku's eyes are flashing red. She wonders what's going on with Izuku when she sees that Izuku's eyes are glowing completely red. She's just wondering as she calls over the doctor as the doctors start examining Izuku. When they are astonished to see a pitch black diamond on Izuku's hand. The doctors don't understand that this is Izuku's quirk, as they assume that this just might be like Izuku's birthmark or something. When they take Izuku to Inko, Inko asks what this is, as the doctors just tell Inko that this might just be an unusual birthmark. Inko trusts the doctors enough to take Izuku home without any worry. As Izuku is growing up, Inko notices that Izuku isn't a normal kid. Izuku was just playing by himself as he was running around, as Izuku's personality was much more socially distant, and he was much more calm and clear-minded than anyone else, as everyone thought that Izuku was cool. As Izuku was the age of 3, Izuku was just playing by himself as he fell on the ground. When Izuku fell on the ground, he scraped his knee, but he didn't start crying, as he just got right back up and started playing again. Inko was astonished and didn't know what was going on, as she expected Izuku to start crying. When Izuku enrolled into preschool, everyone was just astonished by Izuku and thought that Izuku was amazing and cool, as more and more kids wanted to hang out with Izuku, but Izuku never wanted to hang out with them. When Izuku was playing by himself, kids came over and wanted to play with him, but Izuku just shunned them and told them that he doesn't want to play with them. When Izuku went home that day, Inko asked if Izuku made any friends, as Izuku just nodded his head, lying to his mom. When Izuku went to his room that day, he accidentally manifested his quirk. As Izuku touched the shadow of some type of object in his room, he accidentally absorbed it. As Izuku was confused what was going on. When Izuku screamed for his mom came rushing in and asked Izuku what was going on. As Izuku saw his mom's worried face, he didn't want to worry his mom anymore. He told his mom that nothing happened, as he stared at the wall that he absorbed the shadow from. As his mom was confused what was going on, she told Izuku that he shouldn't be screaming like that, as Izuku apologized. When Izuku went to the school next day, he saw that Kachan also manifested his quirk, and his quirk is called Explosion. He's able to like emit explosions through the palm of his hands. Then Izuku looked at his own hands as he wondered if he should tell anyone. As Kachan, arrogant with his new quirk, he started bullying other kids. When Izuku saw this, he was outraged as he rushed in to save a kid that Kacchan was bullying. As Kacchan stared at Izuku, telling Izuku that he's not the coolest one in school anymore, and that since he got his quirk, he wouldn't be able to beat him. As Izuku just stared at Kacchan with a blank face. Kacchan was annoyed that Izuku wasn't answering, as he rushed at Izuku with a full fury explosion straight at Izuku's face. As Izuku was trying to block the explosion, his emblem on his hands absorbed the explosion. As Kacchan was confused what was going on, so was Izuku. As Izuku was just staring at his hands, his whole hand was enveloped in darkness. As Kacchan was confused, he realized that Izuku manifested his quirk as well, as Izuku knew that he could fight with this power. When Izuku realized this, he rushed at Kacchan with full fury, as he punched him straight in the face, knocking him out, as his body was flinged across the playground. The lackeys just looked at Izuku in amazement, as they immediately ran away, not wanting to mess with Izuku. Izuku just walked away, not injured one bit. But then the teacher spots this and takes Izuku and Kacchan to the principal's office, as Kacchan is holding an ice pack to his cheek. Then the principal asks both of the kids what happened. Izuku immediately answers the principal by saying that they just got into a bit of a rough game. As the principal asks Izuku what that black stuff on his hands and arms were, as Izuku hesitant but answers the principal by telling him that he might be his quirk, as the principal nods and calls Inko. When Inko gets to the school to pick up Izuku, she sees Izuku covered with black stuff on his hands from his forearm to the tip of his fingers. When Inko asks Izuku if he can get rid of it, Izuku focuses and concentrates the black point to a diamond shape on his palm of his hands. As Inko sighs, realizing that doctors were wrong when Izuku was born, and that this is Izuku's quirk. Then Inko asks Izuku when he manifested it. Izuku thinks and tells Inko the truth, telling her that he actually manifested it yesterday. As Inko started screaming, telling Izuku that he should have told him. As Izuku told Inko that he didn't want to worry her, so he didn't tell her. Inko sighs, telling Izuku that even though he worried her more by not telling her, as Izuku is told by Inko to tell her everything, as Izuku nods. When Izuku gets to the quirk doctor with Inko, they go meet up with the quirk doctor, as the quirk doctor starts to explain to Izuku, telling him that his quirk is called Darkness Absorb, and that he's able to absorb things with a dark tint or a dark color, and he's able to manipulate the darkness around him and on him, and he can absorb darkness, and when he's covering his hands or any part of his body with darkness, he can absorb other things, converting it to pure energy and increasing his strength. As Izuku heard this, he thought he had a pretty good chance in becoming a good hero. From that day on, Izuku started to look up to All Might and Endeavor, as he was amazed by All Might in just being a hero, as he also looked up to Endeavor because of his skill. Izuku started to train his quirk, trying to use it as much as he possibly could, as he started to absorb more and more darkness. One day, as Izuku was in a dark woods, he saw another kid. His name was Tokuyami, as he had this quirk called Dark Shadow. As Izuku walked up to him and asked him what he was doing. But then Tokuyami yelled at Izuku, telling him to run. But Izuku was unfazed, as Tokuyami started to yell into the air, telling Izuku to run and that his quirk is gonna take over him. As Dark Shadow appeared, encasing Tokuyami, as it immediately started to see Izuku and was about to attack him. As Dark Shadow was about to attack Izuku, Izuku just put up his hands, absorbing Dark Shadow. As Tokuyami was just confused what was going on, as he felt normal, as he didn't want to take Dark Shadow out, but he still felt like Dark Shadow was there. As Tokuyami realized what was happening, he asked Izuku what his quirk is. As Izuku explains his quirk, Tokuyami explains his, as Izuku smiles, realizing that this is a pretty good training opportunity. as from that day forward, both Tokiyami and Izuku start training together. But after a few months, Izuku was absorbing too much darkness, as he immediately passed out to the ground. As he went to the QUIRK doctor again, as the QUIRK doctor explained to Izuku, telling him that if he absorbs too much darkness, he's going to pass out because of his mental capacity and his physical capacity, and that he cannot compensate that much energy. As Izuku thought to himself, asking the QUIRK doctor if he trains hard enough, could he increase the darkness capacity? As the doctor thinks and tells Izuku that he probably can. As from that day forward, Izuku started to train with Tokiyami intensely, as Tokiyami used Dark Shadow and Izuku just used his quirk, as he immensely absorbed Dark Shadow. As Izuku passed out almost every day, but woke up stronger, as he always trained his body and started to train his mind as well. But not only Izuku was improving, so was Tokiyami. He was able to increase the amount of darkness that he can use in sunlight, as it was just the same amount that he can use when he was in UA. That's a lot of darkness. And so we can see that Tokiyami's improved a lot. When Izuku and Tokiyami get to the age of 8, they're basically equivalent to the counterparts of UA. That's how strong they are right now. And Tokiyami was able to control Dark Shadow in dark places, as he was able to control Dark Shadow, and both Dark Shadow and Tokiyami came to a mutual agreement, realizing that if they work together, they can become great one day, just like Izuku. As Tokiyami looked up to Izuku because Izuku always trained so hard, and Tokiyami didn't want to be surpassed by Izuku. But one day, while Tokiyami and Izuku were training, Kacchan passes by and sees that Izuku's training and sees that someone else is training with Izuku. As Kacchan not also wanting to be surpassed by Izuku, because from when he was beat up in preschool, he remembered that and had a grudge on Izuku, as he didn't want to be surpassed by him, and decided to start his training from that day on. After the school day ended, Kacchan walked up to Izuku and told him to meet him at a beach. As Izuku was unfazed and asked him why, as Kacchan looked at Izuku with straight eye-to-eye contact and told him that they're gonna fight. As Izuku sighs, telling Kacchan that he's actually tired today and that he doesn't want to fight. As Kacchan looks at Izuku, asking him if he was afraid. As Izuku just sighs, telling him that he'll come. As Izuku leaves school that day, he decides to take a shortcut because he thinks that it'll be much shorter to get to the beach if he takes a short. When he goes under the bridge, all of a sudden, a sludge villain pops out of the drain and starts attacking Izuku. As Izuku was unfazed, as he just dodged every attack, as the sludge villain was trying to attack Izuku. But Izuku was unfazed and told the sludge villain that he was pretty predictable. As Izuku just grabbed and absorbed all the shadows under the bridge, as he immediately encased his whole hand with a shadow, as he immediately punched the sludge villain, blowing it back. But Izuku doesn't realize that All Might's actually right behind him, and that he saw everything that Izuku did. As All Might said, "I'm here." As Izuku turned around, seeing that All Might actually saw everything. As Izuku was starting to explain, telling All Might that he accidentally used his quirk and it was just for his protection. As All Might told Izuku that he's fine, and thanks Izuku for helping him defeat this villain. As Izuku just said, "Don't mention it." As All Might asked Izuku which school he's actually going to. As Izuku responds by telling All Might that he's actually going to UA. All Might tells him that he's actually going to be teaching there. As Izuku gets excited, realizing that he needs to get into UA, because he wants to be trained by All Might. But then, the sludge villain started to reform as All Might immediately picked up 2 bottles and started putting the sludge villain in. But then, All Might told Izuku that he actually had to go now, as he immediately jumped up into the air. Okay guys, I'm gonna end the what if here. I know this is a weird place to end off a what if, but I still hope you guys like it. And if you guys want a part 2 or something like that, because I really like this what if, and if you guys want to know what happens to Izuku and All Might and basically everything, don't forget to, like, subscribe, and the regular stuff. And now, let's talk about what we're gonna do when we hit 1K. We're on the halfway mark. please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because we're gonna be hitting that 1K mark, and we're gonna be doing this whole live stream. We're gonna be playing Among Us or some type of game, or we're gonna be playing like a Genshin Impact, or we could just be talking about anime. So if you guys want to do that, don't forget to, hit that subscribe button so we can hit 1K quickly. So let's talk about the Discord now. Please join the Discord, but don't be mean to each other. And don't do like weird stuff on Discord, because it's not cool. And other than that, guys, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys later.